Hey, what's up, y'all? This your man Step, and welcome back to the Vibes with Step podcast. I hope y'all having a good time, a good night, good morning. It's all the same. I just hope you having one as you hear. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you for being here. So, what's the topic for today, Step? Good question. Good question. I think I want to talk about. I was gonna talk about college, but I'm gonna save that for another day. Let's talk about the horror genre, horror. You know what I'm saying? Scary. Well, the scary and horror are not the same thing. And you know what? I want to talk about that. I actually want to. You know what? I'm gonna actually talk about that first. Horror versus scary. That's not the topic, but it's interesting to me. So let me tell y'all something. Horror versus scary. That's why I don't name my videos. You know, my little 3 horror games videos. I don't name it 3 scary games, cause scary means scary. If it's scary, that means it will scare you. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the horror games I done played aren't scary. You know what I'm? At least to me. You know. So horror versus scary. Horror is just it's in that category. Anything that has elements of horror. You know, atmosphere, uh, monsters, ghosts, possession, anything in that realm. You know what I'm saying? That's horror. But that don't mean it's scary. Like zombies and shit. They don't have to be scary. It could be a horror comedy movie. It's just got to have elements of horror. Scary is exactly in the word. Something that invokes fear. You know what I'm saying? Something that will scare you and make you cry, make you scream, or make you kind of like jolt back and be like, oh snap, you know, I didn't expect that. That's what scary is. Yeah, that's just not something I'm on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of these people that'll call my videos scary because there's a lot of videos I made that's not scary. But yeah, enough of that. So yeah, horror genre. Let's talk about it over the years. You know, I haven't really watched a lot of old horror movies. You know what I'm saying? But I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I don't, man, let me tell y'all something. I don't watch so many damn horror movies. I don't play so many horror games that at this point I'm desensitized to a lot of the horror things today. So I've been doing this YouTube thing, what is YouTube gaming thing, since 2015. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a long road for me. But since then, I played a lot of horror games. You know, games I never thought I'd play. Like, if I would have played, if I would have played a lot of these games that I played this year or even last year, if I would have played a lot of them games at the start, if I had like the luxury to play them games like last year, I probably would have been on some real, you know what I'm saying? I probably would have been scarred if I would have played a lot of them back in 2015. I would have been real scarred. You know what I'm saying? Because I played a lot of scared games. But it's been a process for me. You know what I'm saying? To play these, like, because I started playing RPG games. And then I played some little small first-person games. You know what I'm saying? And they was real scary at the time. But as time went by, a lot of this stuff today just not scary to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to Halloween Horror Nights back in 2018. And it just wasn't scary to me. I went there for the first time when I was 7 years old, and that was some of the scariest shit I ever seen in my life. And I watched The House of a Thousand Corpses when I was a kid. That movie right there scared the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't even a real scary movie. It was horror, but it wasn't scary. All it is like crazy people. You know, like some devil spawned people, just humans who do crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I I thought it was something more than that at the time. You know, I remember the trailer for it. It had like this crazy laugh in it, like some possessed man. It was a scared laugh, and at that time it sounded so demonic to me. But nowadays I understand it was just a crazy person, like the Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt. All time, just dope. Not my favorite, you know, show, but it was dope back in the day. That used to scare the shit out of me. But I look at the Crypt Keeper now, and I'm like, man, that shit ain't scary. You know what I'm saying? I could watch that and not get scared. I could watch that and be good. Cause I know it's not scary to me. But back then as a kid, you grow up and you know, you're not I exposed myself to a lot of this stuff. Like when I went to Halloween Horror Nights when I was 7, I was terrified. Cause I experienced so many different things I never thought I would. And it took me the last time I went to Halloween Horror Nights was when I was 22 years old. You know, it took me 15 years to go back. And when I was 22, I had a good time. I was having fun. It scared me, but it wasn't terrifying. It was just fun. You know what I'm saying? And then I went back in 2018, and it just wasn't fun to me. It wasn't scary. It ain't have that same feeling. You know, back when I was 22, I was still fresh in horror games. You know what I'm saying? I was still fresh in the horror genre. You know, like I like horror movies, I like horror games, but I was still fresh in it. You know, I was easing my way. And at that time I was limited. I couldn't play a lot of horror games because of my laptop. Nowadays I can play just about any horror game I want to. But you know, back then I was still fresh with it. I was still new to a lot of things. But I was used to something. But it was fun to experience them scares. You know, they had people. I remember when we went in there, me and my friend, you know, we walked in this little circus haunted house. It was a haunted house full of different haunted houses. It was like a mixture of haunted houses. And we went through this circus section. And I hate clowns. You know, they some of the scariest shit I ever seen. I used to sit there and say, well, they was my biggest fear and shit like that, but I don't know. At this point in life, I don't know what my biggest fear is. You know, I know one of my fears is failing, and I don't want to fail. Clowns, I don't know. They freaky and they weird, but not scary. It's just, I say they one of my biggest fears because it's more of an uncomfortable kind of thing that I deal with them. You know, the laughs and the wacky looking clothes. And you know, you done seen clowns in horror movies like It. You know what I'm saying? I done seen a short horror film with a clown in it. And it ain't had no like evil face. It was a straight face clown. You know, like just some man. But it ain't changed his face. But it was weird. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we went through the little circus area, and that shit was scary. You know what I'm saying? But it was exciting though, cause the dude who was it was like a bunch of clowns. Some of them was fake, some of them was real, and they was just laughing. And I was like, man, I don't want to go in there. But I went through that. I even thought, cause the way they had it set up, you had to go past them. You know what I'm saying? It was like a curved road going around. They had barrels in between, you know, the exit, the next opening, and where we was. So I was thinking, man, I'm gonna jump these barrels and just skip this. But I was like, nah, cause I want to go through this. And when I got to one of the clowns, he kind of pretended to grab my face and bring me in closer. And I was just stuck there, just like, oh snap, this is happening. But it was fun. You know what I'm saying? Just experiencing that whole haunted house. They had so many different things. Michael Myers, they had some kind of chainsaw looking lady, like she came out of Silent Hill or something like that. But then 2018 came and it just kind of, all that went out the window for me. Cause you know, since 2015, I played thousands of games. I played hundreds of horror games. I got a horror games playlist on my channel. I got a 3 horror games playlist on my channel with thousands of games. So I'm so used to so much of this stuff that's going on, even with these horror movies. You know what I started doing? I like to watch, and my mind all over the place with this, but I like to watch short horror films on YouTube, because it ain't too many horror films online I can watch. You know what I'm saying? It ain't too many horror films in the movie theaters I can watch. So I like to watch short horror films on YouTube, and they some of the best little projects I ever watched. It's some of them that's just so scary, so terrifying. They add something new, and that's surprising to me, because it's only so many different things you can do as far as a horror movie or even a horror game. Too many people use the same kind of ideas and mechanics and even assets to make a horror game. You know, I played a lot of horror games that was basically the same exact thing. The only difference was the title. Or, you know, some of the level was designed in a different way, but it was all the same assets. You know, same monsters used, same character model, same boxes or house, sound effects. You know, it's like, eventually that shit get old. And it's like, well, what's new? I've been looking at games I could play, and I only found one that stuck out to me, you know, as far as horror games. And I'm like I don't care to play them horror games, because they look the same, or they don't look interesting at all. And it's hard for me to find games that's not horror, because I'm not really interested in them kind of games. I mean, I like non-horror games like RPGs and fighting games and shooting games. But I mainly play like horror games on the channel because it's hard to find something that could keep my attention. But even horror games starting to get boring. Well, they've been boring, you know, but now I'm noticing, like, for real, since getting back into YouTube and doing this podcast, I'm like, man, it ain't too many good looking games out there, you know, in the horror section. But yeah, even back to these short horror films, it's so dope seeing people make these little 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute videos, and they so much better. Some of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. There's some real shit ones out there. But it's funny to me because people say they're so good and it's something they never seen. And it's like, I mean, you know, everybody got a different level of, you know, fear and scare. You know what I'm saying? I done played so many different games. It's hard to scare me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I watch some of these horror films, and it's just it's dope to know or see how far it came. You know, it's not like what it used to be. You know, House of a Thousand Corpses, Tale from the Crypt. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street, shit like that. You know, Halloween and stuff like that. It's not the same. The newest Halloween movie, Halloween, I think it's Halloween Kills or something like that. I forgot what it was. That movie sucked. And I'm not the biggest Halloween fan, but it was bad to me. It was just bad as a Halloween movie to set up. It was so goofy. You know, seeing the characters die in these ways that's so retarded, they set themselves up to die. Like this one chick had a gun and Michael Myers in the driver's seat. He got the door open. She dead ass just shooting all these bullets at him and shit like that. Instead of aiming, bullets hitting the back of the truck, not even hitting him. And then when she finally get to the door, this man kicked the door open and dead ass, the gun bounced back on her and she shot herself in the head. Some of the dumbest shit. The average person would have shot that man straight up with all them bullets. Or at least I like to think that. I mean, goddamn, all he had was a knife. You know what I'm saying? Seeing these people with all these different weapons gang up on them and they all died. I think the plot and the setup was just so wacky. It's not like the old ones. It's not even like, you know, Friday the 13th. You know, where you have certain people die in a crazy way, like they fall and they can't get up. And it's like, dude, come on, bro. Like, you know, one thing I hate seeing in these movies is when, you know, like one of these little short horror films, one of the best ones I done seen. I saw it yesterday and it was real short. It's called Lucid. Go watch it. It's by Cameron Gallagher. I think that's his name. So yeah, real good, you know what I'm saying, short horror film. But what killed me was the whole, you know, in the bathroom stall. I don't want to spoil it too much, but long story short, the man fell back, then like ghosted some shit, crawling after him, you know what I'm saying? And he just sitting there backing up on the ground. And I'm thinking in my head, man, get your ass up and just run. Like, what happened to his legs? He went in the bathroom, standing up, walking, and then as soon as he gets scared by the ghost, oh, my legs don't work. So like, that's what I mean. Like, these horror movies, that's what make them not scared. Common sense just go out the window. I want a horror movie where somebody, you know, got common sense and they still die. Like, they still find some way to get killed, or the horror still set in. You know, like, I don't know, having somebody like not go in a haunted house, but yet in some crazy way the horror just still seem to follow them. Like, it ain't no way to get out, no way to leave. Like, no matter how smart you be, you still here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in a dream movie like Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, I got a horror movie idea about aliens. You know what I'm saying? But it's the way I want to do it. It's got to have a part two. You know, like another one. But I don't want to tell y'all the idea in case somebody take it and shit. But I got it written down. I even got some of a script written down. But the only thing about it is I would need 3 other people to play the friends, and you know, cause I'm a be a actor in it, and then 3 other people. I either wanted to be 3 other people, I wanted to be 2 other people, you know. But I think the problem with having just 3 of us is I don't want like the third person to just third wheel it. You know, I want to have 4 people to make it make sense, and I want to have like, I don't know. I don't want to tell y'all too much, but I think that'd be a good little idea for a horror movie, because I made one little horror film on my channel, and it was pretty decent. I mean, it's called Get Back. Y'all go search it on my channel if you want to watch that. Real short. It's only like a minute and a half. No, it would not Get Back, Get Away. Y'all go watch it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I liked it. I think it was different. It was 2 minutes long. I liked it for what it was. You know, a lot of people seem to like it. it was just one of them little projects I wanted to make. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't what I wanted. Like, it wasn't my first idea, or at least it didn't come out how I wanted it to. But I liked it a lot for what it was, and people seem to respect it and support it. But I want to get back into making horror movies. You know, I want to set an example for somebody who not made, but played a lot of horror games and watched a lot of horror movies. And I even want to make a horror movie, you know what I'm saying, based on like the idiots in the horror genre. You know, the people who don't survive because they too stupid to survive. I want to make a movie based off them stereotypes. I want to play the character or have somebody play the character, you know, and actually exposing them stereotypes. So yeah, maybe one day. But at this point, my thoughts on the horror genre, I think it's not too many ideas you can have. I mean, you know, some people surprise me with these ideas, but it's pretty much the same shit. You know, the whole ghost or the demon or possession or zombie or, you know, the dream world and shit like that. You know, movies like The Conjuring and Insidious, some of my favorite movies ever, yo. Especially the Conjuring series. So dope. But I think even with them, they going, see, The Conjuring 1 and Insidious 1, they set an example. Especially Insidious 2. That was a scary movie. But the more movies you make on that kind of topic, the more actiony it get. It's always like that with movies. You know what I'm saying? You get a good one with the second one, but then the third, fourth one, and fifth one, and sixth one, it get worse. You know, it ain't too much you can tell. You know what I'm saying? Much like with Halloween. You know, as Halloween went on, the movies was decent, but as the movies rolled out, it's like you can't argue and say that they didn't get worse. Because you can only tell the same story more than once. You can only introduce a different ghost or different idea in that same universe more than once or so many times. So yeah, it's good to sit there and bring back old horror movies and games, you know, for an example, or just to sit there and bring it to a more modern audience. But some things are best left in the past as, you know, examples of what was and what invoked that horror and that scary feeling, that fear that, you know, most people felt when they watched it. Nowadays, some of them movies and games just look like jokes. That's my thoughts on the whole horror genre. I like horror movies and games. I love them. I love playing them. I love watching them. I love experiencing horror. You know what I'm saying? It's just something about it that's just exciting for me. It get my energies going. But it is a point in my life where I think I need to take a break from all that shit because it's getting boring. There's nothing new about it. Too many of the same ideas over and over and over, you know, and there's no real unique way to tell a story or, you know, set up a game or set up a movie. It's all the same shit these days. So yeah, that's it. Hope y'all had a good time listening. What's your favorite horror movie? You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on the horror genre? Do you think it's time for a break? Do you think it's time for like a cleanse? Like, do you think the horror genre kind of need to go away for a little bit? I think so. I think it's at a point where the horror scene need to kind of take a step back. You know, I played Ghostwire, you know what I'm saying, which was dope. It was a good action game. You know, it was not exactly, but it was somewhat like The Evil Within. It's made by the same people who made The Evil Within. But it wasn't a scary game, which is sad because it had that same idea, that same kind of survival mechanic. But it was one part in there that scared me, you know, not in a like terrifying way, but it was scary just with the experience, the idea of it. You know, I went in this little like underground like garage for bikes, you know, and I knew what to expect. That's how I know I play so many horror games. Sometimes when I play these games, I watch these movies, I know what to expect. And I was just running around collecting things, and I saw something in there that I could collect. And as soon as I picked it up, I knew something bad was gonna happen. I was like, this spell bullshit for me. Like, I'm about to go through something scary. And the light started flickering, and then all of a sudden I hear somebody talking. Well, not talking, but kind of making these crazy sounds. And then this lady with a red umbrella come out of nowhere. And she just looked crazy. It was the first time I saw that monster in the game. And it freaked me out. I'm just crouching and trying to be stealthy, trying to get out of there. And I'm like, oh, I like this because it's different. You know, it reminded me of what The Evil Within was. You know, one of them games where, you know what I'm saying, you meet yourself at a dead end, or you go in a bathroom stall, well, a bathroom, and you checking the stalls and nothing in there, but next thing you know, like you hear footsteps behind you or something like that, or something right on the mirror, or you know, the door closed on you and you can't get out. Them kind of little setups. That's what it was. It was just unexpected, well, expected, but unexpected to the average person, and just good. I ain't experienced no other kind of scares in that game. It was all the same thing. And I was disappointed because I think they could have had a nice little scary experience. So yeah, let me know what y'all thought about. You know, it was something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. So yeah, y'all let me know what you think about the horror genre. I think it need to go away for a little bit, and people need to kind of give it a break. Cause it's gonna get to a point, if they keep on this road, it's gonna get to a point where things kind of die for it, and it just go away forever. You know. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what y'all think. Expect the next podcast soon, and I hope y'all have a good day and night.